Hello, everybody out there, and welcome back to another episode of The World's Finest, which is all indies right now. And in this review, I've got 5 books that I want to discuss with you guys. We've got Usagi Yajimbo, issue 150, Powers Cubed, issue number 3, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, season 10, issue number 21, Voltron From The Ashes, issue number 3, and then we're going to conclude with Huck, issue number 1. Now, Huck I wasn't even expecting to be reading this week, but there's a little twist to it, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Honorable mention is going to go to Usagi Yajimbo issue 150 this week. I love reading Usagi Yajimbo. I started reviewing it. I didn't review the last issue. This story is called Death of a Tea Master. Usagi's friend, who is the tea master, performs, and I know I'm going to say this wrong, it's basically he stabs himself and then his head is chopped off. Anybody who knows ninja or samurai know this, and it's this French guy who he wants to experience and watch it over and over and over again, and he's warning this guy that he's going to give a bad report about him to his higher ups, and Usagi finds out that his friend actually performed suicide. He was actually supposed to be the one to do it, but somebody else did it before him, and then the end of the issue has him fighting with the person and basically getting revenge for what happened to his friend. It was a really great issue. I enjoy Usagi Yajimbo each and every time I get the chance to read it. If you're a fan, I would definitely recommend this book. I love it. I can't wait for issue 151. It's a really, really, really enjoyable read from Dark Horse. Definitely recommend you guys check it out. Sticking with Dark Horse, let's do Powers Cubed, issue number 3. Now, last issue was a little bit slow. This issue, Kenny has... It opens up kind of like issue 1 did, where Kenny's having a dream with his mother, and she's, kind of recapping about the father, and, and the father's on a spaceship somewhere, and they're trying him. They want to turn him back to his regular alien form, and then they're going to put him through a few things, and if he doesn't comply, they're going to kill him. If he does, then maybe he'll live. But Kenny's stuck on Earth now with the cube, and you've got Dr. Cruel over here who wants the cube, and actually kidnaps Kenny's girlfriend. Find out how if you read this issue. He kidnaps Kenny's girlfriend in order to trick Kenny to come to his lair and basically give him the cube. You've got that little robot, Click, who is basically the embodiment of the father and Kenny's mind, or basically dumbed down to Kenny's level, so that even though it's not basically the father talking through Click, it's the father through Kenny's eyes talking through Click. Try to make sense of it if you want. And then you got that big dumb robot, and now you've got the secret agent that's after Kenny as well. So there's a lot of things pointing towards Kenny's direction. The one thing I didn't like though was the end of this issue. It looks like Kenny lost the cube, but if you look at the cover for the next issue, which is basically the last page, it kind of gives away what's going to happen in the next issue, possibly. It's a hilarious cover, and I think Dr. Cruel is one of those hilariously funny villains. I left out a bunch of stuff also in this issue, but I love the artwork. I think the story has a lot of really great promise. I enjoy this book. Is it the amazingest, craziest, must-read book of the year? No, but it is an enjoyable read. It has really awesome artwork, and I loved it. I liked it, So what can I say? It was a really enjoyable read. Continuing down the Dark Horse path, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Season 10, Issue 21. Buffy and Spike get visited by, I forgot her name. Let me see if I could just roll it down. And Satsu, who is working for the government now. And Buffy is not too happy that she's working for the army, because the army is responsible for why a lot of the Slayers, the vampire Slayers, were killed. And she's like, well, how could you join them? They can't be trusted, da-da-da-da. And Satsu is like, but the army has been, what you aren't seeing on TV is the army has been preventing a lot of stuff. That centipede in Paris, yeah, well, that was something that broke through that the army couldn't prevent. And they want Buffy and Spike to team up with the vampires to basically stop the demons who are, breaking through and getting past the army. So the whole mission is Buffy and Spike going to the new breed of vampires and the old breed, the original breed of vampires, and getting them to team up together and with the army in order to stop the demons. And both the vampires, new and old, agree, the new blood and the old blood, say if you want this, both Buffy and Spike have to compete in this like steel cage kind of UFC-esque match. Buffy against a new age and Spike against an older age regular vampire. And if they win, they'll go along with the armies. And as Buffy is the first fighter, you got I hate Drew, not Drew. What's her name? What's her name? Let me get it right because I will not be happy if I don't. Harmony talking with Spike about how Spike and Buffy will never work. He'll screw up, and then vice versa. You have the new breed, whatever her name was, talking with Buffy during Spike's fight, saying how Buffy's just going to end up screwing up, and they're going to end up breaking up regardless. And then you can see Harmony and her kind of have this little like, hey, we're good when we work together. Maybe this will work out after all. So Spike and Buffy win. The vampires are on the army side. And then the ending, however, I'm leaving quiet because actually Spike goes to see somebody at the end of this issue. And that was a very interesting somebody to go see. And I don't really know who she is. I believe this person was in previous... I'm not going to say because I need to do a little research on my own. This is a great issue. A lot of great action. The only thing that really bugs me is every other story arc, somebody's telling Buffy and or Spike that they're going to screw up their own relationship because both of them are basically... Not disturbed, that's a bad word. Buffy likes things she can't have, and Spike idealized Buffy, and now he's finally seeing that she's not the idol that he put her up to be, so he'll just wait for her to leave. That's at least what Harmony's saying. So they're trying to screw around with Buffy and Spike, I think, a little too much. I would like to see it pulled back for a little while at least, because I feel like every other story arc, it's, okay, we're having a hard time with our relationship. Okay, we're having a hard time with our relationship. I mean, give it a break. one or two story arcs, give it a break. Like a full story arc, give it a break. We're moving into Dynamite now. And we're going into Voltron From The Ashes, issue number 3. And we get the final parts of the flashback where the Voltron Force finally defeats all the Robo Beasts. However, what happens to them? Because only the leader is left by the end of this fight. Or at least he's the only one talking by the end of the fight. Keith is the only one left talking at the end of this fight. And what happened to the rest of Voltron Force? What happened to Keith? That's the big question now. However, Red Team won. They were in first place. The Robo Beasts are back. They're being attacked. Voltron is needed once again. So Jace's team, because they were in second place, did not earn the right to pilot Voltron. And Jace kicks himself. The team is he kind of makes it all about himself. And the team's like, dude, it's not about you. We're a team. We all failed. By the way, there's an advertisement for Red Sonja. It's coming out soon. Looks very interesting, the cover. I will say that as I'm passing the advertisements. But Jace kind of is beating himself up about it. Then he finally kind of chillaxes a little bit about it and realizes, maybe this was all for the best. I screwed up. We all, we didn't give it our all. But then the ending has the greatest twist of all. It turns out that Jace might have been right issues back where he said Voltron, you don't pick who pilots Voltron. Voltron, or the people who deserve to pilot Voltron, will pilot Voltron. And let's just say Jace's team might actually have that chance that they were waiting for due to what happens at the end of this issue. I really love the artwork in this book. That's number one, first and foremost. This story is excellent also. I'm loving Voltron. I'm so glad Dynamite is finally giving us a book consecutively, because the last volume there were delays, there were months in between issues, and I missed an issue because there was a month between issues that I didn't even go looking for it. This series is going very well. I'm really excited to see where this book is going. And now finally this week, from Image, my last digital book is Huck by Mark Miller. And at the end of this book, any writers that are interested in writing for Mark Miller, I would advise getting this book to read the letters column, because I'm not going to talk about it here. What brought me into Huck? Okay, I wasn't even looking at this book. I didn't, because everybody said Mark Miller, he has his delays, whatever. There was a piece about Mark Miller came up with the story because he was traumatized by what he saw in Man of Steel. So I was like, okay, what would traumatize, or what would do this to a person that they would write a story, and what's this story about? Huck was an abandoned child. He was found on the doorstep of, I believe it was a church, and he grew up loving everything, and every day he would do a good deed for somebody, and apparently he has superpowers. We don't get to really see him exhibit a lot of it. We see a little bit of his super strength, we see a little bit of his speed, we see a little bit of here, there, and everywhere, but we don't really see like a full-on, like, oh my god, he can't fly, obviously, because he does take an airplane somewhere, but he has abilities, he has something, and this whole town knows about it. However, it's a secret. This town keeps Huck a secret, and Huck just, he does good deeds for the town. He's there to love, the one note that's left with him is, please love him. And he basically is the embodiment of, good. And a few people think he's slow, that he's a little slow. Maybe he is. But all he does is nice things. There's a part where he takes all the garbage out for everybody. And I don't mean out. I mean he goes down the streets and basically does the garbage man's job for him. He takes over a ship for his friend at the gas station, helping old people, fixing cars, finding a lost person. Basically this old woman saying, if anything goes lost in our town, it's found by the next day. He does so many wonderful deeds. And this new family moves in. And the woman is telling them, we keep Huck a secret. We don't want the world to know about Huck. We keep him quiet and he helps us and everybody's happy and nobody needs to be the wiser. Then Huck finds out that there's something going on in a different country. There's all these women who were taken hostage by this terrorist group. So he goes all the way to, I believe it's Africa if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. There's no, wait, maybe it did say it in the news. Yes, North Africa. I was right. And he saves these girls, but he tells them, he brings them candy, and he actually says, I need you to do me one favor. Don't say anything. And they don't. However, the family that just moved into this town, the woman's like, I'm telling you that was him. And the guy's like, the husband's like, I wonder how much we could make for going public with this. And then the next day, there are a billion news reporters outside of Huck's house. And I feel the same way he does. Oh gosh, what next? Huck's secret is now out and revealed to the world that he is a superhuman. He's not I don't believe he's a superhero. I believe he has abilities that definitely go beyond normal man, but I don't know. We don't really, that's the mystery. We know Huck has abilities. We know he does a lot of good deeds and he never does anything bad. He's sweetest person in the world, but he was a secret and now he's not a secret. What's going to happen now that the world knows Huck exists? This is going to be a very interesting story. I'm enjoying it. I hate that family for revealing Huck to the world, and I'm sure the rest of the town will also. And I'm curious to see where this is going to go and how this all relates to being traumatized or the effects of Man of Steel. Mark Miller seeing Man of Steel, which I saw the article in passing. I just noticed the name of the book, so I said I'll download it and I'll look at it. The artwork in the book is really great. The story in the book's really great. I enjoyed it. It was a really, really, really nice book. I enjoyed it, and I can't wait for issue 2. With that, that's it for this review, guys. Feel free to let me know in the comments below what you thought about any of the books I'm talking about here, or I talked about here. Recommendations are always welcome. As long as there's time, we'll be able to read more. Likes, dislikes, agree, disagree. There's a bunch of links in the description below. Connected stuff here on Dark Avenger C86, Comic Frontline, Zone 4 Podcast, Last Ember Press, and Frontline Gaming Zone. All together, we try to give you something new to read or watch or be a part of each and every day. So until next time, everybody, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and I will see you guys really soon in the next video.